media's agenda here is absolutely clear. The media is using the Parkland shooting as a crutch, as a lever, in order to push gun control and in order to attack their political opponents. And really, it's more the latter than the former. It's not even about pushing gun control so much as castigating anyone they don't like, castigating anyone with whom they disagree as a bad human being. This is what the media are into. The media want to make it seem like if you disagree with them on gun control, this makes you a bad person. They're actually not that interested in gun control legislation actually getting passed. Because if they were, they would stop browbeating people like Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, who's been working with Bill Nelson, a Democrat senator from Florida, to push legislation. They would stop ripping on Republicans as uncaring, unfeeling monsters with blood on their hands. The media are interested in one thing and one thing only in the aftermath of Parkland, and that is pushing the gun control narrative specifically so they can push their more important primary narrative. The gun control narrative is secondary. The primary narrative is that you are a bad person if you like guns. You are a bad person if you're pro-Second Amendment. Okay, this is their agenda. How can you tell this is their agenda? Because even other left-wing agenda points go by the wayside if it doesn't serve the primary agenda. So here's what I mean by that. There's a whole group of students over at Parkland who are even further left than the group of students you've seen on TV, the Emma Gonzalez's and the David Hoggs and the Cameron Kaskis. There's a whole group of students that are even more to the left, but you never see them on TV. Why don't you see those left-wing students on TV? After all, the media is full of leftists. The answer is because these students are not serving the left-wing agenda of pushing gun control, and therefore they are not pushing the broader left-wing agenda of making those of us who are anti-gun control look like bad people. So Hogg, of course, is really excited about this, and he's going to become the boycott leader of the left, and the left is happy to use him this way. He says that corporate America is standing with him. Here's him making the statement to Allison Camerata, who, by the way, last week said that what dumbass college wouldn't let someone like you in? To David Hogg. Well, David Hogg wasn't let into some of the colleges on the West Coast because his SAT scores weren't high enough. I mean, all of his admissions were done months ago before any of this happened. And his SAT scores, apparently, according to David Hogg, are like a 1270, which is a fine SAT score, but that's 100 points below the average at UCLA. So he wouldn't expect to get into UCLA. In any case, here's Allison Camerata and David Hogg, making out on national TV, or, her at least plastering her lips to his butt.
I think it's great that corporate America is standing with me and the rest of my friends, because when you come against any one of us, whether it be me or anybody else, you're coming against all of us. And I think it's important that we stand together as both corporate and civic America to take action against these people and show them that they cannot push us around, especially when all we're trying to do here is save lives.
Okay, well, that's all he's trying to do. Forget all the things that he said that are terrible about people, calling Dana Lash a murderer and someone who doesn't care about her children, and saying the same thing about Marco Rubio, and Allison Camerata just sitting there nodding through this whole thing. Corporate America is not standing with David Hogg. Corporate America is standing with non-controversy. And this is the truth about corporate America. They don't want controversy, which is understandable. If you run a business and you are selling a sleep aid and you are on a show and the show starts to become very controversial and suddenly your sleep aid is popping up in all the ads, you're afraid of the blowback. And so maybe you pull your advertisements. The left knows this, and that's why they're pushing it. And so David Hogg decides to push this even further. He says, listen, I understand that Laura Ingraham apologized to me, and I don't accept her apology, but she shouldn't just stop there. She should also apologize again on CNN, of course, on CNN. And then he says, you know what else? I would really appreciate if she would apologize to LeBron James. Why LeBron James? Okay, because a month before this shooting happened in Parkland, she said to LeBron James that he should shut up and dribble. We talked about it on the show. It wasn't something that I was fond of her saying. In fact, I criticized her saying it. But David Hogg is now going to be the apology police. He's the civility police. Right? This guy who goes around saying that you have blood on your hands if you disagree with him, this is Captain Civility now, according to the members of the mainstream media. Here he is explaining that Laura Ingraham should apologize to LeBron James, too, or something.
There have been multiple instances throughout Ingram's professional career where she's tried calling out people, for example, at Dartmouth University because of their sexual orientation, and she told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. I don't see any apology for those people. I mean, why? It's really sad. It's disturbing to know that somebody could cause...
Whatever. Okay, it's just absurd. Why should she apologize to David Hogg if he's not going to accept it? And then why is he calling on her to apologize to other people if he says the apologies mean nothing? None of this makes any sense, except insofar as the media are happy to watch David Hogg go out there and call for boycotts because they want Fox News boycotted. They're a competitor. And then they want people, and then they are firmly convinced that you cannot attack anything that David Hogg says. Again, David Hogg seems like a smart kid. David Hogg seems like a politically wily player. That doesn't mean everything that he says is moral or decent. In fact, I think a large percentage of what he says is immoral and indecent. Okay, before Laura Ingraham has a show. How's it possible that Laura has a show? Well, she has a show because there are a lot of people who want to listen to her. But this is the real goal here, right? The real goal here is knocking Ingram off the air, just as the real goal was knocking Sean off the air and knocking Rush off the air and knocking all of these various folks off of Fox News. The entire goal of the left here is to pretend that something truly egregious happens, even when nothing truly egregious happens. Now, sometimes something truly egregious has happened. Sometimes there's a multi-million-dollar sexual harassment settlement, for example, against a particular host. And advertisers don't want to associate with that. But that's a genuine move by advertisers. Right here, what we have is an intimidation campaign by left-wing media sources propping up a Parkland survivor for political gain and then using that kid as a club to wield against their own political opponents. It's really stomach-churning stuff. Here's the CNN panel saying they can't believe Ingram has a show. They want her deprived of the show, obviously.
We so seldom see people acknowledge that they did something wrong. She did. She said that she wished that she hadn't done it.
So, Jake, I still don't. I can't believe Laura Ingraham actually has a show. So, like, I'm kind of at a point where I'm there. She apologized. Look, you know, and with free speech in this country also comes consequence. You have the right to say anything you want to say, but it also are consequences to those actions. And so those advertisers are pulling out, and I think rightfully so. And I don't think she'll be back on TV after this pre-planned vacation.
Okay, let's be clear about this. She has a pre-planned vacation this week. She will be back on TV because this is not going to stand. Fox News viewers are not going to be cool with Laura Ingraham being ousted over what is, by Twitter standards, a very, very mild tweet. It's not something I would have tweeted. It's not something I think was a good idea, but come on. I mean, you're going to end somebody's TV career over that? Good luck with that. Good luck with that. And again, I think the media is in for a rude awakening because things are going to get really ugly on the other end of this. It's getting, like, for example, I think CNN's beginning to realize this. Let's take a quick example. Let's begin with Joan Walsh. So Joan Walsh is a contributor on CNN, and she says a lot of egregious things on a fairly regular basis. She's featured very often in the Things I Hate segment. So Joan Walsh tweeted out a series of attacks on Kyle Kashuv. And Kyle Kashuv is one of the Parkland survivors, and there are a bunch of people who decided to attack Kashuv on Twitter. Among them was Fred Gutenberg, whose daughter was killed in the attack. Kyle had tweeted out something like, this entire thing has become really politicized and is no longer about saving lives. And Fred Gutenberg, whose daughter died in the attack, he says, no, it's all about saving lives. Well, obviously, Kyle wasn't talking to him. Kyle was talking to David Hogg and the rest of the Parkland survivors who have been on TV routinely pushing gun control. He was saying that the AstroTurf boycott against Laura Ingraham is not about saving lives. It's obviously about political gain. Well, Joan Walsh liked all of these tweets, right? Joan Walsh liked all of these tweets. And then Kyle Kashuv responded, just so everyone knows, CNN would never take a side. And then he tweeted at Joan Walsh. And Walsh responded by insulting him, saying, good luck handling your stress. So let's use the left standard here for a second. Right? He said, wow, Kyle Kashuv, are you really policing? Are you really policing the likes of a grieving Parkland father who lost his daughter? Good luck handling your stress, Kyle. That's what Joan Walsh tweeted out.